I've started it, so...
I started to finish.
Exactly. So this is Elaine.
This is me.
69, right?
Yeah.
So
17 September.
Okay. So, I mean, obviously, you know...
Widow
in a way,
of this parish.
In a way, because we didn't do the photo at the time, and I've had time to edit it and look at it, and I'm pretty sure it's that one which says "Don't be a cunt" is the one, because it's so striking, and I think it was literally the last frame.
Yeah.
So you'd even moved from the position of being cross-legged or whatever, however we'd posed you, to just sitting on your knees and talk.
Which is my most
better.
comfortable position.
In a way, it really was just you, without the camera being there.
It's a position. It's my default setting.
Exactly. So weirdly, we hadn't even got to that point. So I think that is the one that I really love, and there's something so kind of cheeky about your expression. Like there's this crazy sparkle in your eye. Just, I don't know, just you. Just like I can see it now. There's just like a real lively cheekiness, as well as obviously you've got that reflected by the artwork in the background, which just totally reflects your character, but also this amazing suppleness of, you know, sitting how you maybe wouldn't expect someone to sit when they're 69.
I know, that's what people said.
You said that.
I wish I could sit. Like, what the fuck?
But it's almost like you forget to appreciate that you actually have got incredible flexibility and energy, but because you've got it and you feel it every day, maybe you don't even notice anymore. No. But, I mean, that is fantastic, and maybe there's lots of other people who are 69 who are really flexible, but we're not seeing them enough.
Yes, so, that's the exact discussion I had with somebody about presentation in the media of older people and the white heterosexual grey-haired couple.
Yeah.
That is the epitome of the older age group in the UK as far as the media thing, and it's just bollocks.
It's incredibly narrow-minded, isn't it?
It's insulting.
It is insulting. You're right.
I find it patronising and insulting, and every single time I go to the hospital for anything at all, because I've been quite a lot for various things, I always get asked, like the last time I went for a pre-assessment, and the nurse said, can you walk upstairs? And I went, look at me.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And the guy for the cataract op said, well, you know, do you need to have this done? And I said, I lead guided walks across the mountains in Spain. I think I probably do need to see.
So does that make
are you still working? Shut the fuck up.
So that's really insulting.
It really is.
How does that make you feel? Like you're not worth having the operation? I mean, are they saying, should you not bother because you're not really doing anything? I mean, what do they mean by that?
It's the awareness of the ignorance in society in general, especially, I feel, in the UK. I go a lot to Spain. And I walk down the street in Seville and I see women who are probably about my age. They walk with such a sass. And they have proper hair. They don't have pixie cuts. You know, they show off their bodies, not in a sexy way, but in a sensuous way. I have a right to be here. I don't feel invisible because when older people say that they feel invisible, older women say, oh, I'm invisible. Bollocks, I'm not invisible. I know that I'm seen, but I'm classified as soon as people see my birthday. I went to a card shop yesterday, to my favourite card shop, where I go a lot, and there's loads of people that have birthdays around. Loads of my friends and my family have birthdays around this time, and I was saying, oh God, yeah, you know, I've been buying these buttons, these badges that say old, and Jess's one that says fuck off, because as presents to put in the cards. And I was talking to the woman who I've seen a lot. You know, I've been going in ever since I moved to Stoke Newington 9 years ago or whatever it was. And I said, oh yeah, you know, because my son's going to be 39. And she said, you don't look, her eyebrows went up and her face went a bit funny. And she said, you don't look old enough to have a son of 39. And I had on a puffer jacket and a hat and no makeup. So I wasn't like trying hard. And I said, I'm 70 in September. And she said, oh, you don't look it. And I almost screamed at her, this is what it looks like.
Exactly. But that's...
wake up.
Yeah, not like you don't want to say, I'm so different, I've done so well. It's just like, this is 70.
Yes.
Yeah. What is being underrepresented or misrepresented. It's like it feels like there's a 1950s version out there in the media.
Stereotypes, mate.
Yeah, just like, but I don't know. I mean, like, I suppose that's why I did One Day Young. It was like trying to dilute the image of motherhood in the media that I was so pissed off about.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like there is a misrepresentation of so many areas in society. And if they're misrepresented
the
in the media...
Middleton effect.
Yeah. But it's kind of like if you're misrepresented in the media, that is kind of the attitude of how people treat you. It's not just a media representation.
It confirms their prejudices.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, I suppose we've talked. Yeah, it's kind of covering how do you want to be seen. I mean, you're not just trying to fight that stereotype. You're just trying to be yourself, I presume.
Absolutely.
It's not about trying to make a statement. It's just being Elaine.
I'm genuinely not trying hard. I'm just really, really grateful to be alive.
Yeah.
I've had...
Well, you see,
I am having a misspent life. Yes, I do healthy shit, but I've done a lot of unhealthy shit.
Yeah.
I've had a heart attack. I've had breast cancer. I've had 5 pregnancies, 3 births. I've had a dead husband and an autistic son. Stuff has happened. I had a mentally and physically, but not sexually abusive childhood. But it's made me just more and more grateful to be here, which is, not to preach about what I do, but which is why I do what I do, why I get people to write down their lives and realise, wow, actually, my life's interesting. Other people find it interesting. And the whole mindfulness meditation thing about just one day at a time, look how lucky we are to be sitting here looking at the balcony with the trees going, to have met you, to be having this conversation, rather than think, oh God, about Brexit, oh fuck,
Exactly. It's
just one day at a time.
It's your choice, isn't it, to either take on the kind of gloom and the fear of the future, or to appreciate...
Oh, shit, the fear, yeah.
Fuck the fear. That should be her next badge.
Fight the fear, do it anyway.
I'm just going to literally stop this. She's going to let me keep going. Quite nice when you start flowing, then that's nice the way that thoughts sort of tumble out. But I think that was a really good point. I think as you go through life, you can either choose to celebrate the hardships. Like, I had to do an interview this week about my rheumatoid arthritis. And I was like, actually, although I bloody hate it and wish I didn't have it, what it's given me is empathy and a way to connect with people that I just didn't have before.
And it's given you pride. It's given you pride
in survival and strength.
That you're dealing with it.
It's stuff you're dealing with. And I think if you have a very smooth ride...
You're not meant to be. That my whole
proud of yourself.
Yes, you don't show off. Don't. Pride goes before a fall.
Exactly, but they're very confusing messages. Never to be proud of yourself. When you've worked really bloody hard and you're doing stuff that you believe in and you've survived things and you've helped other people. Yeah. But I think struggling and gaining empathy is such a gift. I mean, of course I'd rather not have the pain, but in a way I wouldn't want the empathy to be taken away from me. But you have,
so what's the fucking choice as well?
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. So there's a way to twist things and make good out of difficult situations.
This is what I've got. How are we going to solve this one? Where am I going to put it in my head?
Exactly. Oh God, I was going to ask you something when you were talking about. So when you were saying, that was quite a list, but then I suppose that is a life's journey of, the difficult childhood and hospital treatments and illnesses and kids and death, which is a huge one, and dealing with the difficulties of an autistic child. But
in the middle of two others, so it's the
not wanting to ignore nor the other two.
Well, exactly, because every child affects the other child in the family, so anybody's behaviour affects. I mean, William is high. Well, William. William is high achieving, charming, wonderful, but when he was younger, before we knew what it was that was kicking off, it was very hard. I mean, not to write in this, but Lucy was 6 months old and Will was...
And by the way, I'll show you anything that we use, so you can say, I don't want that in. That's fine.
Lucy was 6 months old, Will was 5 and Jamie was 10, and Jerry went to live in Germany for 8 years. And I was having a loft conversion done.
So you didn't go with him to Germany?
No.
He went to Germany.
He lived
and
over
you
there.
had the 3 kids
and
here.
I had the 3 kids.
Oh my God, Elaine! Jesus.
Breastfeeding with a loft conversion going on with a load of dope smoking Irishmen.
Oh my God!
But at the time, I didn't.
Right, yeah.
You
just got on with it.
Yeah.
You're so busy, you can't even think about. Well, it is what it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Goodness me, but would you want to change any of that? I suppose it's a pointless question because you can't, but you probably gain something from all of those experiences that makes you, the combination that you are now.
I think with hindsight, there are definitely elements of my behaviour after my husband died that I regret. But I also know about the emotional effects of grief and the responses that kick in. And I feel that I have done my dues on that one. I mean,
forgiven yourself, or let yourself, not forgiven, but
accepted.
Just accepted.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Which is a brilliant place to be at.
Well, you have to.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the only person that it's chewing up is yourself.
Yeah.
And that's no good for anyone else, because if you're what I realise, if you're obsessing about something in the past, it's not only chewing you up, but it's affecting everyone else around you who can't help. So yeah.
So would you say that you're happy to be in this stage that you're in now?
Absolutely.
Yes, you're not
course.
Wishing to go back or
no
rushing to go
God,
forwards?
no. Oh, music was best in the 70s. Shut up. No. I get so sad by people of my generation who say, oh, it was so good, wasn't it, in the bed. Well, there are elements, but look what we have now. Look what we can explore. Look what we can discover. Look what we can experience. Oh, it's all right for you, Elaine, but
But you've made it all right for you, because you've created a life that makes you happy.
It's actually all right for all of us. It's just about having the self-belief, which I didn't used to have, to try it. To try it. I'm also very lucky that I have a team of cheerleaders, which are my 3 kids, who do not accept for a minute that I can't do anything.
Well, that gives you faith. with 3 people believing in you.
Yeah.
And you don't want to let them down. By then, you almost want to prove them right,
Yeah.
I suppose. So,
Yeah, sometimes, I think, oh, no, say I don't have to do
yeah,
this.
it's too hard.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. But you're still pushing yourself for new experiences. I mean, you're travelling on your own a lot and...
Well, I'm living on my own now for the first time in my life.
Right.
Ever. And I've just written a piece
That's really interesting.
about that.
I've never lived on my own.
No.
I'm 44.
Yeah.
I can't actually imagine what it's like.
It is very unusual.
Do you wish you'd done it earlier?
No.
No? Okay.
No, because this is what it is now.
Yeah.
I think my children...
Are the kids still here? Or someone was moving out when I was last here?
Yeah, nobody's here.
Oh, nobody's here. Oh, so
No.
they've gone now?
Yeah.
Oh, I see. So it really is the first time.
Yes.
So your lovely daughter's not making cakes and things aren't shifting about.
No.
Oh, so it's really fresh and new.
Yeah.
So what, a couple of months or something?
Yeah.
Okay.
And also, not only...
Wow, so you've got loads of rooms suddenly. What are you doing in them? Yoga, dancing?
I'm walking round going, this is mine and that's mine.
Oh, that's really exciting. Okay, so it's really fresh and completely new experience. So does it freak you out when you come in and nothing's bloody moved?
No, it doesn't.
No,
It doesn't. Because I have spent 6 months on my own without any humans, but I had the dog.
Where was that?
In Cornwall, on a cliff.
Oh, blimey.
When I left a guy that I was living with, because his children were so rude. And I said I'd go back when he lived on his own. And I did. I don't want to mention that.
No, we're not going to. No, it's not a bio. It's not life story.
He is an absolute fucking cunt.
We're not going to
first degree. But I did spend 6 months with just me and the dog. But this is the first time.
But you probably weren't in a very happy place there in your head, because that sounds quite stressful.
Yes, it was.
The kids being horrible and trying to decide whether to leave a relationship or not. That's quite...
Well, I wanted to hang around to see if things changed, because I'd sold my house and given up my business and left my kids and my friends to move in with him. So it was a bit sort of like... And I had nowhere else to go anyway. And it was a house without internet, without mobile reception, without a dishwasher, without a tumble dryer. It was...
Was it lonely?
Yeah. I was near someone I'd known for a very long time. It was her family that rented it out. So I think I was so much in my head thinking about how the relationship could work. But as the years went past, I realised that, when I had the heart attack, that's when he said, "You're on your own with this. You're not my
Amazing.
responsibility.
Right.
We can't work together if you had a heart attack and you want to do an MA. So what's the point of us being together?" So no, I've never lived on my own.
So how are you? Would you say you're finding it this time round when you're like in a really positive frame of mind?
I'm finding it fun.
Right.
I'm finding it scary.
Yeah.
And the only time I find it really scary is in bed at night. That sort of like period between turning off the light and going to sleep. Because to me that accentuates the fact that there is no partner in my life anymore.
Yeah.
And I'm beginning to realise that might be permanent. That might never change. And that's the biggest sadness in my life, I think. That's the biggest sadness. But there's fuck all I can do about that.
So that fear of there might not be the right person come along. The right fit, the right...
That there probably won't be. Not that there might not be.
Oh, right.
There probably won't be.
Right.
Because of my age and men preferring younger women, and
or how to reach men that don't prefer. I mean, the men that prefer younger women are probably the ones on the dating apps.
Yeah.
So how do you find the
They've
men?
got ideas well above their stations.
Yeah, you said that before, that it was like the 70-year-olds will want to go out with a 50-year-old.
You think you... But also, I don't look like a British white Caucasian 69-year-old woman, and that is too much of a challenge because I don't look... I maybe look a bit scary to men of my own age.
Yeah, a bit of a challenge, a bit too difficult.
Yeah,
or make them feel a bit shit.
Yeah,
or something.
Yeah, no, definitely.
But then, why don't the young 50-year-olds make them feel shit? You know, what's...
Because I think they feel more...
because of experience, I suppose, over...
They feel in a stronger place, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, that's the only time. Because... But that is outweighed by everything else. You know,
because that would be the one last thing that you'd like to happen. You know, you've got the house and the job and the freedom and the kids. Everything's kind of...
And touch wood, health.
And health.
At the moment.
But it would be nice to share it with someone who makes you laugh.
I miss sex.
Well, there's that as well, of course. I wondered whether that would come up in our chat.
Christ, yes.
Yeah. Why should that be missing from the equation?
And that, to me, is bizarre because, for me, our whole life includes that. And yet somehow I can't have it. I'm not allowed it.
Or is it's sort of almost, when you talk about sort of the media and culture, it's almost expected that women of 70 don't need it and aren't entitled.
Oh, absolutely.
Isn't it? It's kind of like you're asking too much now.
Yeah. No, some friends said I should go on Tinder, which I have done various times before, but they said I should not say that I'm 69, that I should say I'm 60. And so I thought, well, I'll see what happens. And I got a date with this guy, and we met in the local park during the day, because I always do daytime, no alcohol. And I said to him after we walked around the park a few times and sat on a bench, I said, well, actually, I'm not 69, I'm 60, because this happened like not that long ago. And he said, well, you still looking for a physical relationship then?
But that, you know, that's an individual's attitude, but it's the whole of culture's attitude, really. He's only reflecting.
Just a standard bearer for a hell of a lot of other
men. He's only reflecting what actually society thinks.
Yeah.
Which is really sad, and that needs to change. But
it's horrible not being fancied, and I know that is such an unfeminist thing to say, but I would really like to be fancied.
Some male
and
attention.
I wrote this. Yeah. I wrote this piece for the Times about feeling like that, and loads of women emailed me and said, God, yeah, I know exactly how you feel, and some really dodgy men emailed me as well. You know, just just to be found physically attractive by a man who I found physically attractive would be,
and really, have that chemical reaction
really
again.
Nice, you know,
yeah,
would be really nice.
Exciting. Still looking for that excitement of connection with someone.
Yeah.
That's not just conversation or, you know, having things in common.
Somebody who would want...
What about a body that's in common?
Somebody who would want to touch me. You know, somebody who the idea of touching me wouldn't be abhorrent.
I mean, one of my questions was going to be, what's your greatest fear? But maybe it's all linked with...
What's my greatest fear?
I just wondered...
That one of my children will commit suicide.
Oh, my God. Wow.
That's my greatest fear. That one of my, or put it another way, that one of my children will die.
Yeah.
That is bigger than...
But suicide comes into your head.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Don't mention that.
No, okay.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Definitely.
Yeah, I can't imagine anything worse, actually, now that you've said that. Is it,
As
a mother...
You can say that, you know, my greatest fear is the death of one of my children.
Yeah. But yeah, as a mother...
I would deal with it,
especially
because I know I dealt with it. You know, I watched my husband die, so I know I would deal with it.
Oh, but it's a piece of your heart, isn't it? Totally ripped out. As much as I suppose a husband is as well. You know, I've got one who I love dearly, but a child is a different bit of your flesh and blood.
Oh, absolutely.
Just, you do look at other mothers or families where that's happened to them, a child has died, and you just kind of, you know, how do you carry on breathing? I don't know. I mean, it must just be horrendous. And for the siblings that are left, the just sort of weight of grief. It's just... I haven't even felt it, but, you know, just even imagining, which doesn't get you close to what it really feels like. Yeah. It's just horrendous.
You physically feel it, don't you?
Yeah.
I was suicidal a few years after my husband died, but because I felt so shit about myself. And I felt that the children would be far better off without me in their lives. I felt that incapable of being a good role model and for them. And their guardians are a very established... Well, they don't have guardians now, but their guardians then were a very established, well-heeled, well-educated... couple who I knew loved them, who had their own children, and I thought, yeah, that will be a better life for them than having this mother who has lost the fucking plot and feels so shit. But then I did a thing called the Hoffman process, and that's what saved my life.
Wow, what does that do?
That gave me back my self-esteem.
So how did that turn things around?
Sorry?
What does that do? Make you think about yourself in a different way? Just
confidence. And they sent me to a life coach, which was farcical, because they told me to look in the mirror and tell myself I was beautiful. And at the time I felt so shit, I used to look in the mirror and go, fuck off.
Punch the mirror. Thanks.
But can I just not look in the mirror? And then I went to a retrogressive hypnotherapist, which was really interesting, but didn't do that much my self-esteem. I mean, it was like... And then they said they wanted me to find somewhere residential. And everywhere I looked at seemed to be too hardcore and a bit chilly and a bit granite walls and, you know... And I found this place near Brighton where I could go so that if it all kicked off at home, I'd be in driving distance. And the food looked nice and it looked comfy and it was expensive. And it had recommendations from people who I respected. And it's about learning how to not repeat the negative patterns of behaviour that you learn from your parents.
Okay, breaking that cycle.
But it's about much more than that. So it's not about coming out at the end thinking my parents are shit and that it was all their fault. It's much more about accepting the different parts of ourselves and seeing how you respond to things. And it did save my life. It really did. So it gave me back my self-esteem and it gave me back my self-respect. And so when I left my second relationship, the guy in Cornwall, although I was distraught and bereft, I didn't want to top myself. It was, you know, I went, but I didn't go,
yeah, yeah. And you've still got, I mean, you can really see it in that picture, you've still got that self-respect.
Yeah.
Feels like that's your core sort of, you know who you are and you're happy with yourself.
Yeah. And I know that I can make other people happy, because the guy in Cornwall told me that everybody hated me, that I made everyone unhappy, that his friends I didn't try and like his friends, that I was critical, negative, bullet. He was a bully.
But then, I just walk in here and it feels like this whole community knows you and is really happy that you're here.
Oh, absolutely.
And you feel really...
That was his shit.
You are loved and you do make people happy. And that openness or that self-esteem you've got actually draws people. So that you are surrounded.
Very much so.
And open to conversation. It's just kind of... I
find other people interesting as well. I'm not...
Yeah.
But I had to understand. Because what happened was when he treated me like that, I went back into victim, which is what I'd been when I was a child, because my mother told me that I was adopted, that I was dropped on the wrong doorstep, that I wasn't like the rest of them. My grandmother told me I would be a whore.
What the hell? You weren't adopted though?
No.
How could?
There were times when I wish I had
say
been.
that? Why would
because
you say that?
Because she found me threatening.
Oh my God! What a thing to say to her, your own child. What, to just hurt them? Crazy.
Yeah, but it was her stuff. She.
Wow. But her mother was the same.
Yes, to a certain extent, I imagine, but also, I was the first of 4, and I was bright. I am bright. I'm intelligent. I was an attractive child, but I was never told that, and it was only looking back I can see. And I was a threat. I was an argumentative little shit. I wasn't a little shit. The trouble with you, Elaine, is you like the sound of your own voice. You always want to be the centre of attention. Yeah, well, that's what children are like. It's like, I love it. We love it with ours. That's what we want. We want these strong, independent children.
Have something to say. Or want to be involved in the conversation.
Yeah.
God, blimey.
So, yeah, those.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'll read about that. I was going to say, when were you happiest? But maybe it's...
I'm happiest on a beach.
Now or in your 20s?
I'm always... I'm happiest in the sun. I'm happiest on a beach.
But you don't want to be there all the time, because you could do that.
Yeah.
If you wanted to, you could do that. You could live.
I'm happiest when I'm working. I'm happiest when I've just made love with a man. I can't think of a particular time, because I still... It's not like there was and there isn't now. There are continuing little pockets when I think, I remember recently walking through the cemetery on the way to teach, and looking up at the big trees and going to the talk last night.
Yeah, so little things,
being able to get on the bus outside with my freedom pass.
It's exciting.
And going there and listening to people talk intelligently about stuff they have a passion for.
It's kind of like endorphins in your brain sparking up, with freedom and conversation. It was because I asked the same question to the 14-year-old, and I might ask lots of people this. Yeah. And what was really sad when I said, "What makes you happy?" he was absolutely lost. Yeah. And he was like, this sounds really bad, but I just don't know anymore. I know what should make me happy. I've got a really nice family and this and that. Yeah. He said, but I don't really feel it. And it made me feel so sad. But I suppose that's a stage. There's always waves and stages that you go through. And maybe as a 14-year-old boy, you're just kind of lost. And you're not a child that has a burst of excitement because it's Christmas or there's a present or there's a chocolate. Yeah. So you're not there, and you've not got the excitement and independence of a 16, 17-year-old. As a 14-year-old boy, you're in this weird transition and you're sort of a lost soul because you're your parents' child and you've not fully formed into your own being. But for him to not even know what makes him happy, I was like, my God, we are lucky with our experiences. I find joy in everything. I mean, bloody hell, you know, looking at those tulips, I'm like, gorgeous. I've got some daffodils on my table. And it's like, I can see joy in a bit of, like, I love these stickers and this tape, and I just find joy in bloody everything.
And feel that, stroke
exactly.
that.
And in that fabric, I already noticed the one behind you, but I literally can see tiny bits of joy, and I can feel it in my brain, cycling here. I don't know, just constantly. And it's like, maybe it's that...
Music is so important as well.
Maybe it's that appreciation for... You had your health to get on the bus and go and listen to what you wanted to listen to, not what someone else wants to listen to, and then be really stimulated in a conversation and have a nice whiskey.
Passion.
It's just like noticing the small things. And I don't know, some people are really blinkered and their dial is not set for joy and accepting it. A friend came round last night and he said, nothing makes me happy. And he's like really successful. And I just thought, God, I'm so lucky. I find fucking everything joyful. But you have to be tuned into it, I think, to allow yourself or something.
And also, you know, depression, because I do suffer with depression, and I have taken antidepressants at certain times in my life, and they've helped a lot. And sometimes I do go right deep down, but I'm lucky that I have a regular counsellor now, and I spend money on it. I mean, it's not extortionate by any means, but you know.
But I think it's interesting because people expect young'uns to be really happy and full of joy, and as you get older, you get a bit more grumpy and a bit more miserable. And I don't actually think that's the case. I think with experience,
now of course, people of our age,
you have different appreciation.
All these phrases, you know, people of our age, you know, of course at our age. And, now I'm at the end of my life. I had this friend who.
But people can say that at every stage. I hear people at 40 going, "Oh, at our age, we can't really do that." I know. And I thought, fuck, I will do what I bloody like. What
you don't have to do anything,
age?
But it shouldn't
you're 40. What the hell are you talking about? Like, what, you can't go to a dance aerobics for it's for 20-year-olds. It's like, you can do what you bloody like if you can bounce
if you
around.
live in London, you've got more bloody chance to go than anywhere in a lot of other places.
Well, this is why when
try going to something like that in Cornwall.
Well, this is if you're 40 in London or 40 in the countryside, it's a very different experience. If you're 70 in London and 70 in the countryside, you've got a bigger fight.
I was so shocked when I went to Cornwall.
Surrounded by beige, right?
Well, it's
no
just
colour.
So segregated.
Right. Yeah.
It was so segregated. Oh no, you don't go there. That's young people's. You know, Brighton isn't segregated, and I'd gone from Brighton.
Well, maybe that's part of the answer, not to be segregated, you know, to have conversation, to go to things and have conversations and be living with and mixed up with.
Absolutely.
Why not?
Yeah.
You're going to feed off younger people and they're going to feed off you.
Absolutely.
And, you know, it's unnatural, actually, to be segregated in little age pockets.
Well, I've been to 2 birthday parties recently. One, my friend was 40. Another, my friend was 44. And at one stage, I know, a couple of years ago, that I have a friend who's 37, 38. And I decided that it was inappropriate because I think one of my children said, "Why don't you hang out with people your own age?" And
because I guess you were hanging out with people the same age as them. Was that what was making them uncomfortable?
Yeah, well, exactly, because I've got one friend who's not 30, she's in her late 20s, and Lucy and Pedge were still living here.
Yeah, and they're like, oh.
And I said, "Oh, it's coming round." And Lucy said, "Mum, do you think it's appropriate?" I said, "What?" And she said, "Well, she's younger than me." And I said, "She calls me up, we go out, we have a good time. She calls me up again, so obviously she enjoyed it the first time. people my own age don't quote me on this.
No.
People my own age don't call me up so much.
Yeah.
They're all going, ugh.
Yeah.
They're either indoors with their significant other,
Yeah.
or they're looking after their grandchildren,
Yeah.
or they're oh no, you know. So yeah, of course I'm hanging out with people younger than me because they're doing the sort of shit that I want to do.
Having more in common.
Yeah.
But I suppose that's also possibly the single life of... I'm sure I've got plenty of friends, like my best mates don't have kids or a partner.
Yeah.
And it's like, they've got to find other mates to hang out with and go tango dancing with and go to talks and go to gigs. Because actually, you know, if you're in a relationship, you do have to give it time.
Yeah,
and if you've got kids, you do have to give them time. So...
And my peer group are very, very, very wrapped up in grandchildren care.
Right, yeah.
Which is great.
Yeah.
I understand that.
Yeah.
I understand that.
Do you think that will happen to you? I mean, obviously your kids are at that sort of age. Can you imagine that?
What?
I mean,
yes,
you can't
I think it probably will. I hope when it happens that I am still physically fit. I have this sort of weird feeling that maybe because I haven't made any decisions about next year, that maybe next year will be the year that Lucy has a baby. And I'm still living here, and that will be something that I can do.
You mean you've made no plans for next year, as in you're not going to be in Spain for 3 months, or you're not going to be...
I've made no decisions at all about next year.
Would you normally though? I don't make any decisions for what I'm doing next week.
I would do probably in terms of work.
Right.
Because...
Oh, because you're booking in the walking holidays and stuff.
Yeah, and I've already, by the end of February, I'd already filled the 3 weeks I'd allocated in Spain, and I'd put on an extra week. So...
You feel like it's some sort of destiny that you're stopping yourself booking?
I don't know. I think it it's the nature abhors a vacuum thing. That it feels like I'm waiting for something.
It's like you don't want to commit and miss out on whatever might be happening in your life.
No, it's not that. It's more that it's not that I am not. It's not that I'm actually making a decision not to do something. It's more that I'm just waiting to see. I'm leaving a space for other stuff to happen.
Maybe that's when the man turns up rather than a baby. You never know.
Which, could be the same thing.
Same thing. Someone needs looking after and loads of attention. What's the difference? Well,
I mean,
sex,
it is very strange. It's one of the things I wrote in the article, that not having anyone else to look after but myself.
What article? This article?
No,
another one.
Piece that I posted on my blog and posted online. It is very strange. Only cooking for myself, only washing my...
Oh, the one you've just written about living on your own. Oh, I'll have to read that.
Yeah.
There's probably... I could have probably just read that and pulled stuff out of that. In fact, out of your many articles, we could have just revisited.
Yeah.
But anyway, we can always do that. If
it is very strange, only feeding myself and only washing my clothes, because... when I had the dog, I had to remember to feed the dog. I had to remember to give the dog attention. I had to remember to look after the dog. And now I don't have to give anyone else attention in my house. And I've had this weird resurgence of interest in my plants.
So you've got this nurturing thing that you need to look after something. So you actually miss that.
Very, very deep inside, I think, of me to want to care for somebody. Because I've always done it.
Yeah. You'll be inviting all the neighbours round for dinner, having supper clubs.
I did, but she couldn't make it last night, so I went to the talk.
Well, that was probably better anyway.
I was quite relieved.
Well, I was going to ask, because obviously the walking's quite important for you. I imagine with a lot of thinking and a lot of your writing is quite sort of self-analysing of your stage and what you're living through. So Yeah, what is it about the walking that you love? Is it the space in your head? Is it sort of connecting with nature, or?
It's being outside. When I had my radiotherapy treatment for the breast cancer, I found it so frustrating that I could not walk fast because it sort of, I didn't realise that it would have effects other than it was part of the treatment. But first of all, it slowed me down. I can't remember whether it slowed me down physically first or slowed me down mentally first, but I know that it did both. And I use moving quickly as a way of energising myself, whether it's moving around the flat quickly or walking, but particularly walking outside, but not just being a flaneur, you know, an 18th century poser around Paris, Flaneur. I think it's 18th century, it might be early 19th. So not just sauntering. I hate shopping. I hate window shopping. I hate anything. You know, I like hunting, but I don't like shopping.
Hunting?
Yeah. Hunting for bargains in charity shops, or hunting
like a challenge
in a market, or hunting for the right present, or but
it's a nice word, isn't it?
Yeah, but
it's a different thing.
Shopping. So walking outside, and especially walking up hills and walking down the other side, are really important.
Just sort of getting the blood going and the physical challenge. So it's more about it being physical then, because I was expecting it was more about having a creative space and letting your mind wander.
Well, it is that. I can't divorce one from the other, because which is why I put the writing by hand, the walking and the meditation together for the retreats, because it's a combination of all three that helps me.
I was going to say they're your three perfect creative states: meditation,
the
physical, your body working,
and being outside.
Moving. And actually writing, that quietness of writing, and whether it's automatic writing or just...
It's a physical activity as well.
The pen on the paper.
Yeah.
And I love...
Making your mark.
Yeah. And also allowing yourself that you deserve that pages and pages of your own thoughts. You know, it needs space. It's allowed to have space. It's worth something. Yeah. It's kind of... well, maybe that's why people have diary. You know, diaries are a very interesting object, aren't they? Which is why there's probably so much written about them, because it's writing not necessarily for an audience.
I try and avoid the word diary though when I talk about this writing in a notebook, because if you tell people that it's good to keep a diary, they have so many memories of getting to March the 6th and not having written.
Right.
And then they feel it's a failure.
Yeah.
Whereas if you just tell them to write in a notebook, put the date, but even if it's just one line, but to pick up a pen or a pencil and write in a notebook, it's giving them fewer rules and regulations, and people put so much scheduling into their lives. You know, it's like the reason I don't like the artist's way, which I know has encouraged a lot of people to write, but I wonder how many people have continued to write. You know, they might have done it while they were doing the book, but you know, she suggests you do this much, this time of day in this form, whereas I just say do what you fucking can, and if it's 2 lines once a week, yes, that's 2 more lines than you.
So what would you say is the purpose of you encouraging people to write? Is it? I mean, is it for?
To realise how...
What are you trying to give people?
To realise how important their life is.
That's nice.
Not only to themselves, but also to others around them. To how interesting their lives are. And how interesting their lives will be in years to come to people in future generations looking back, seeing what our daily habits were, and recognising that our fears are always the same. They're universal, whether we were medieval, whether, you know, I mean, the Romans used to keep diaries, you know, and you look back, it's the same questions: who am I, what am I, you know.
Just like you feel more connected to humanity.
Yeah.
Sort of understanding.
No one is more special. No one's life is more special than anyone else's life. You know, no celebrity's life is more special and more interesting than yours. It simply gets more, you know,
attention,
more coverage.
Yeah.
Your life is just as important. And also, it's not just about recording it. It's about getting it out and onto the page and helping you sort out your head, helping you sort out the chaos and see where you are in your life, and then reflecting back. Like, you know, I do mums and babies workshops. I haven't done them.
Really?
Yeah, I haven't
that's
done them
interesting.
for about a year, because when Lucy and Pedro were here, it took, you know, like if you share the flat with other people, I found it difficult to keep on top of if you do a mums and babies group, it has to be clean, it has to be, you know.
Right, they don't want to knock everything over off the, land on their head.
Not so much that, it's just you have to, from a health and safety point of view, it has to be, you know, no little bits left on the carpet, no, you know. And they were the first writing groups I ever ran.
Sounds interesting, because you're at such a crazy transition at that point, and you are in chaos, and you've sort of lost yourself.
Yeah.
So to sort of pull yourself back and understand that.
And then you have another, you know, some people
really
came to me with 3 different pregnancies.
Really?
And, you know, they look back in their diaries and...
Fascinating.
Oh, shit,
What did they say?
I was really worried then about going back to work, but it was all right.
Yeah.
So it's reflection. So it's expression and reflection.
So do you think that writing is a major part of what helped you get to this point of...
Oh, Christ, yes. Yes.
Self-appreciation or...
Keeping a notebook, without doubt.
Really? Was part of that process?
Because when I was younger, I used to write, because it was the one way I could get a whole sentence out without being interrupted. And I could say what I wanted.
Not be no judgment.
Yeah. And, you know, all the time Joey was ill, I kept notebooks. It gave me something to do in the hospital. It gave me a way of understanding the language, because if somebody's ill, you learn a whole new pharmaceutical language and medical language. Yeah. I am completely lost without a notebook in my bag. If I don't have a pen, I feel I've failed miserably.
I was gonna just finish it with I was either gonna say what keeps the twinkle in your eye or tell me a secret. So I don't know which.
What keeps the twinkle in my eye?
Yeah, that sort of excitement. Anarchy. Okay. Doing the unexpected.
Putting 2 fingers up.
That kind of suits the picture again. Going back to what the words will be opposite.
Subversing the norm. I organised my first demonstration when I was 14 years old, when I was at school, and I organised a demonstration in the town against the closure of a dance hall, because they were trying to close down.
At 14?
Yeah. I must have been 14 or 15, yeah. And because they were trying to close down the town hall where we had dancers, and because they said that the capacity was wrong, but it wasn't. They just didn't want us to have them there. And He made this big. I had this. I mean, no wonder my parents were embarrassed about me.
We're now wondering why she was telling you to shut up. It's like you're causing demonstrations in the street.
And
Elaine, keep your mouth shut.
I had this piece of sheet, and on it I wrote, "Youth beware the council square." And I was on the front page of the local newspaper, and I mean, my whole parents' raison d'etre was not in front of the neighbours. 3 layers of net curtains, and there was their daughter marching through town.
So there's that core of anarchy.
But if I did that, if my kids did that, I think fucking right.
Yeah, you'd
Stand
be
up for
marching
what
with
you
them.
believe
Yeah,
in.
yeah. It wouldn't be a rebellion to them. They wouldn't be being. There'd be more anarchy if they became an accountant or something.
They voted Conservative.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then there'd be like some sort of uprising. But
I mean, I joined the CND, and my parents could not. It was like unbelievable. Oh my God. I voted Labour, joined CND. I went to folk concerts.
But I can see that still excites you. I mean, I saw yesterday on Facebook Pablo inviting us to breakfast before the march. And it was like, Elaine's the first one to comment. I was like, there she is. Of course she is, making a banner. But that's still part of, from a young child and throughout your life, that need
Stand up for what you believe in.
Not towing the line.
Yeah. And having passion in something.
I was going to say that sort of gives you a certain energy to have passion.
Yes.
So the other possible thing that might be interesting is obviously that, you sort of touched on it but didn't say much, but like being a sexual being is still really important to you, and that's part of that, still having passion and connection with another human.
And wanting to share my body, which I think is still pretty fit.
Exactly.
With a bloke.
Yeah.
With another, with someone else, so that they can have fun and I can have fun too.
And I think that could be, I mean, just imagining how this book is going to go. There's 68 pictures before you and little phrases. I wonder if, not wanting to use you as a rhythm breaker, but I wonder if it might be a really nice jolt that everyone's like offering their wisdom and appreciation, and suddenly you're going,
I just want to fucking shout.
I just want to fuck. Or maybe not quite like that. But I wonder if that might be quite a nice wake people up a bit. Like, you're just sort of trotting along and they're really nice pictures and you're learning these little insights, and then we have a bit of a bolt of lightning.
It's not, I mean, I know.
But it shouldn't be a bolt of lightning.
I know I'm good looking. I know I'm attractive. I know my body's good. I know I look good for my age. I'm not pretending that I don't, but what I can't understand is, why doesn't a man think so too?
Yeah.
Why doesn't a man that... It's like... I mean, my daughter says I have ideas above my station, and I know that, I went to see A Star Is Born, and I came out Googling how old is Bradley Cooper, is it appropriate that I'm feeling so lustful about this man? And, how can you fancy someone who wets his trousers and still have you seen the film?
Yeah, it's great, isn't it?
Jesus Christ. We're having a Star Is Born evening round here in a couple of weeks with my daughter and her best friend, who's one of my best friends as well, and another girl who's my daughter's best friend, who used to go out with one of my sons, who's my friend, and my friend from Brighton, who's younger than me anyway. But we're going to have a Star Is Born
just
viewing.
Bradley appreciation night. Yeah. So I think that might be an interesting. Although you've said so many things that are interesting, I don't know what anyone else is going to say yet. I've got 98 more interviews to do, so I don't expect many people will be that open about their sexual needs, or because you're more open about it because you've written articles about that.
Yeah, I think the only things I would say was keep the names of my children out.
Yeah,
and keep out the autism.
Yeah.
Whenever I write anything, if I'm slagging off anyone, it's me.
Yeah.
If I'm exposing anybody, it's me.
Yeah.
I wrote bits about my ex. I didn't say what he was.
Yeah.
I was commissioned to write a piece about Lynn Franks, who's a very, very old friend of mine, or was, and she treated me like absolute shit, and I still had to write the piece, and it's the only piece I've ever written where I had to pretend that
She wasn't a bitch.
Someone had been good to me who had actually been horrendous.
Mm.
Do you know who I'm talking about?
That must have been horrible.
She was a fashion PR. Right. She was the inspiration for Ab Fab.
Oh, okay.
She's just got the OBE for services to. She is.
Why didn't you just refuse to write it?
I couldn't.
Money. Oh, you felt you
because
had to...
I wrote for Woman and Home for like 17 years, and I'd agreed to do it, and I felt as well that why should I? I gave her due. There was some things that she has helped with. I didn't include anything negative, and I tried to put the slant on what I'd gained from it.
Mm.
And I thought, no, I'm going to make her feel that she is the smaller person by treating me the way she's done, not by not doing it. Because somehow I felt, look, this is how you can be nice.
Right, okay.
And I got an email afterwards saying, a very long time afterwards, saying, I saw the article, thank you for being so generous. And I said...
Yeah, she knows.
Yeah.
She knows what you could have said.
Yeah, she does.
Yeah. I mean, what I'll do is I'll listen to this and I'll just pull out, it'll probably just be like...
Do you want a drink of water?